Hello, ma'am. Welcome you all. The current session will be taken by Professor Anju Rawlley, ma'am, from NITTT Bhopal. She will take the session on tools and techniques of outcome-based assessment. Now, I would like to invite Professor Anju Rawlley, ma'am, for the session. Hello, ma'am.
Okay, good noon,
Okay,
everyone.
ma'am.
Yeah, good
Over
noon.
to you, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Ji.
Thank you so much. Mm, just hold on. I will be just taking some of the slides. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, madam.
Okay. I will be just in this mode only. I will be presenting some of the slides just for you to understand many things so that the concept which we have discussed till now, I think that would be reinforced. Okay. So that is really, I think I have covered all these things, measurement of learning and all this thing, assessment, evaluation. The purpose of assessment, I think we have seen that, and you will appreciate that whatever we have discussed, it is all there. Diagnosis, feedback, extent of achievement, grading, certification, selection, appraisal, that is there. We are doing the different entrance examination for selection and appraisal. Okay, we also as a teacher also has a performance appraisal system. Okay, so likewise, so this is the purpose of assessment. Okay. And as I have already mentioned that while designing, we go from vision to this way. But while assessing or implementation, we move from course outcomes and further breakdown to session outcome. And then we move from this side to this. I think this I have already explained. So there is no, I think there is no doubt on this. As I have also discussed, I think these all points I have discussed, what, where, how, and when. Okay, so what is assessment? I think this I have discussed. Where it should be assessed, I think it can be any location. It directly I have discussed. It can be workshop, field, yeah, even during dance performance, during in the market also, during informal chat also, in the fields also. Okay, so anywhere it can be assessed. Okay, because we are in the process of continuous interaction, feedback, so location is no bar. Okay, definitely the formal locations will definitely come. Okay, then how the techniques of assessment, I think I will be touching. And when, I think when it can be every time, I would say. Okay, because when you are assessing a student, when you are talking to the student, you are assessing many things there, his behavior, her behavior, then what is his or her communication, how are their non-verbal communication, how what about their value system, ethics, so many things. Okay, so I think this we have discussed. Examination reforms by AICT, even I have discussed this in during the first session also. Even AICT has come out with the one examination reform policy. I think you can download that and you can read this, because just in one or two session it is really difficult for us to discuss, but there is definitely a focus on the open book examination. And when we are talking about the open book examination, which is really approved by ACT, it is less stressful. But here we as a teacher need to see that how can we design the higher level of questions which are not directly as an online examination, which are not directly, which can be copied from the textbook or the learning material provided by the teacher. Okay, so it is less demanding on the rote learning memory. It uses enhanced use of the library, then enhancing and testing the skills in application, analysis, problem solving, higher order thinking skills, synthesis, evaluation, which is really required for the outcomes to be attained. I think this we have already discussed. Then it enhances and motivates students to refer to the classroom and laboratory notes also. I think note-taking habit is really very important, what you are teaching in the discussing in the class. So they develop that also. And then understanding the concept, analyzing a situation, synthesize a problem, and in turn a solution, application of knowledge, creativity, teamwork. I think these are the different forms of the evaluation which is really encouraged by the examination reform policy. I think UGC, it is evaluation reforms by UGC. Even UGC has also come out with the outcome-based education, and then they are trying to standardize the outcomes. Uh, hmm. Then reforms and certification, I think it can be definitely, we are talking about the outcome-based curriculum and outcome-based education, but still we are tied up, or we are stuck up at the marks and the grades. But some system has to be evolved where we maybe our mark sheet need to be transformed to the output, like what are the outcomes he has attained, and that to what extent. Okay, it can be outcome based, it can be, even we have come out with the different models, it can be a problem based also, it can be competency based, it can be task based, it can be grade or portfolio based, or credit based or marks based. So these are it's a really very important slide which need to be thought of. And as a teacher, we can use the different forms of the certification, like portfolio based. It is one of the very important tool of assessment. And even the problems also, you can assign certain problems to the students, you can assign certain task to the student, and then you can analyze the I would say the hidden potential of many students, that whether they are able to apply their mind. Okay, they are able to solve the problems, integrating the many skills, the basic skills which we have learned, they have learned through the different list of experiment which is given in the curriculum. Okay, I think this is not required. This is really very important, that outcomes may be integrated and overlapping with each other in a task. This is really very important. Like we write the outcome CO1, CO2, CO3. I think Dr. Pradhan might have definitely explained, but still I'm just repeating this for the sake of understanding. Because if you're writing outcome CO1, CO2, CO3, it means it is, again, there is no compartmentalization amongst the outcomes. There can be overlaps. Okay. So from that point of view, we have to devise the strategy and then think of what strategy can be used for attainment of that particular outcome. I think I have explained this through many examples, and then this can be overlap like the domains. Okay. And each CEO can be a combination of the 3 domains, 2 domains. There can be, but there would be emphasis on one domain. Okay, got the point? Is it clear? Am I clear? Am I able to, means, are you able to understand? Okay, Arpita madam. Okay, because I'm just summarizing. Still you have certain doubt, no problem. Okay, I repeat again. This I really wanted to just show you because I already had explained to you, but still, because suppose this is the laboratory, this circle is the laboratory. Okay, there are many through different experiments, we are attaining different outcomes or the skills, whatever you say. Okay, but for performing certain experiments here, you need to have certain knowledge. Okay, so when you go to the laboratory also, you experience certain concepts. Okay, that is the theory part. Okay, so theory part, I would say, because we as a teachers are focusing only on the theory, that should be, that shift is really required. So it should be a prerequisite knowledge which is really required, prerequisite minimum theory which is really required to perform the experiment. Okay, practical, not experiment. I'm using the word broader term, the practicals. Okay, then definitely you should have the positive attitude. As I said, you know everything, but you don't want to do. Okay, and then the learning outcomes, they can be at different levels in the three domains. So it can be performance in the laboratory, workshop, and field. Okay, got the point? So this is the concept of the outcome, you can say. Got the point? This slide is clear to everyone? Is this slide is clear to everyone? Okay, okay. Then coming to the next slide, as I told in the first session, and my colleagues also might have told you that this cannot be, you cannot directly assess the PO, PSOs. Okay, so he is just scratching his head. That difficult to assess POs and PSOs. COs also directly, it's because it is too broad. As I said, a CO's outcomes has to be framed at the higher level. So definitely it is difficult to assess the COs also. Okay, definitely when we fragment the COs further down to the session outcome, it can be a session outcome of session. Session means any session. Session can be performed in the field, in the laboratory, even it can be in my corridor also. So it's session outcome. Okay, so when you are assessing the session outcome, it means we have to focus only on the, not directly on the assessment, but on the learning also. So teaching learning, when we are talking about the teaching learning, it is a session outcome. Okay, so what is to be assessed? We have to assess the session outcomes, not directly. When so many session outcomes will ultimately lead to the course outcome, and then the program outcomes. Okay, I think this slide is very common. Session outcome, then session outcome means during implementation of the course outcome means after completion, and program outcomes. So we need to assess the students at different levels. Okay, PEOs means a few years after graduation. Okay, try to understand this slide. I think this is really important. Okay. As we are talking about the program outcomes, maybe 12 outcomes or 7 outcomes, then certain PSOs. Is it visible? Is it visible?
हाँ
Yes,
मैडम
ma'am.
दिख रहा है दिख रहा है
Okay. Then these POs, yeah, these POs we are addressing to different semester. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. In different semester, we are teaching different courses. Maybe semester 1, 5, 6 courses. This is just a sample for the understanding only. Okay. Here also we have written different courses. I have shown here. And again in C, different courses, C, they are depicted as a C. There can be certain outcomes in the form of the dots. Okay, so there would be, so again these CEOs has to be fragmented into SOs. Okay, session outcomes. So there can be so many CEOs, SOs. So these SOs, as I'm sorry that इसको this has to be integrated. Okay, इसमें हमें lines खींचनी होगी अंदर ही अंदर एक दूसरे के साथ. This CO can be mapped with this SO. This can be mapped with this SO. Okay, for doing a particular task or solving the problem or the project in the industry. Okay, got the point? Okay. So this is the pictorial representation. So while implementing, so it is design and development of the curriculum. We do like this, and while assessment from session outcomes to this way. I think it is clear. Uh, I think this is clear. Okay. So these session outcomes which I was talking about, it has to be developed by using different instructional strategies and different locations. Okay. So laboratory, workshop, field, industrial training, co-curricular activity, extracurricular activity, and classroom. Okay. You can be assess the students. As I said, you can be assessed by the teachers, you can do the self assessment, you can be assessed by the peer, you can be assessed by the outside agency, as we are doing in the viva voce. Okay. This is the outcomes. I think you have seen this. uh, how means direct, indirect, and direct tools of assessment, which I will be taking after some time. I think I have discussed this: diagnostic teaching before learning, formative during learning, and summative means assessment after learning. Okay, so learning, Dr. Piyush Lotia was saying, so learning will be there in all the three times: before learning, assessment before learning, during learning, and after learning. Ultimately, it will lead to the learning. Okay. So I think different concepts, formative assessment, and even we have designed the assessment scheme also to a large extent in a very exhaustive way, which you will not find in many of the institution. But it has to be really implemented by the teachers in the right spirit. Okay, process, product, and all this thing. Okay. So this is really required, and formative assessment. I think this concept we have already discussed. Learners need, this is the one quotation by Wiggins. Learners need endless feedback more than they need endless teaching. Okay, so don't think that if I go and start teaching, so it is really required, but you should think of, I think somebody's mic is open. Um, Dr. Sudha, I would request please mute your mic. Uh, Dr. Sudha. Dr. Sudha, please mute your mic. Then I think this we have already explained. Summative assessment,
सुधा
and
मैम
then
एक माइक ऑफ करिए डॉक्टर सुधा मैम
formative assessment, process assessment, product assessment. I think we have already discussed. So this is all I really wanted to talk about. Assessment in general. Okay. So, any doubt till now? Otherwise, I move to the characteristic now. Is it clear to everyone? Is it clear to everyone? Okay. Neha, because I have not maximized the slide, because I really wanted to go just like in one shot, because it was just a summarization. I skipped many slides. Okay. So that was the purpose of going in that mode. Okay. Now coming to the characteristic. Okay, again we will have an interaction session. Then I will just summarize. What are the characteristic of assessment? Shamina, okay. Please mute. I have muted you. Okay. Uh, what are the characteristic of assessment? Okay, because I have to go little hurriedly, because my timing is only up to 1:30. So, what are the characteristic of assessment? Can somebody explain me, whatever you know? What do you think that what characteristic should be there for assessment? Really, very, very important as a teacher to understand. Anybody knowing? Anybody knowing? Okay. Anybody knowing? Otherwise, I will just Pavan Kumar sir. Pavan Kumar sir. Pavan Kumar sir. Okay. Okay. There are four characteristics of assessment. You can say one is validity, really very important to for teachers to understand. One is validity, another is reliability, the third is objectivity, and the fourth is practicability. Okay, what is validity? I'm not going to the definitions of this term. You will get everything in the Google. Okay, so just to directly to coming to the point, what is validity? Validity and what is reliability? Can anybody tell me what is validity and validity reliability and how these concepts are? Again, I'm talking about the four concepts only. Okay, so how these concepts are used for the assessment? What is validity? Anybody? What is validity?
प्रूफ
Hmm?
असेसमेंट का कोई रियल प्रूफ होना चाहिए.
Real proof होना चाहिए means you are talking about the evidence.
हाँ, एविडेंस.
Okay sir, Butra sir. Okay,
ये
thank you so much.
डिफरेंस बिटवीन टू स्टूडेंट, तो हम बता सके कि ये इसका कारण है, ये इसका कारण.
Okay, okay. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else who want to share what is validity and what is reliability? Okay.
Ma'am, it is assessment measures.
It is assessment measure. Can you elaborate this, madam? Shaina madam.
Ma'am, whatever they are doing, and it is a measurement of what purpose we require, the intended purpose, whatever it is, way of measure to find ways to measure that purpose.
Can you give a certain example? Very nice, madam. Very nice. Can you give certain example, madam?
Suppose we want to measure some performance, like in any numerical subjects. So what will be their way, the issues they should, the students will be able to demonstrate it, what they know, what they can understand, and how they will do it in such manners, ma'am.
Okay, very good, madam. Anybody else who want to comment what Shekhar madam has said? Anybody, or anybody wants to supplement what Shiena madam, okay, has said?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sheena.
Yeah, Shiena. Okay, very nice name, new name.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Anybody wants to supplement what she has said? She has rightly said. Anybody else who can tell in a very crude terms, just to make a very quickly and easily understandable? Anybody else? Ram Akuli sir? Ram Akuli sir? राम अकुली सर. ओके, आपने कभी सुना होगा जब बच्चे when you give when we are experiencing, you might have experienced a summative assessment end term examination. You are doing the invigilation and then students they start shouting this course this question is out of course, this question is out of course. Okay, so it means the question paper is not valid. Okay. Okay, just for making you understand, I'm just taking this example, but because there is another separate session on the question paper, but just to make you understand this concept. So it means your question assessment is not valid. Okay, so what madam has said, what is really intended to measure, if you are not measuring that, that is the validity. Okay, what really you intend to measure and what we intend to measure, what we intend to measure, बताइए. नीलम माथुर मैडम बताइए, what we intend to measure. We are talking for 2 days. What really we want to measure? We want to measure the outcomes. Okay, we want to measure the outcomes definitely at the different levels. Okay, so sometimes what happens, so that's why I think Dr. Pradhan might have definitely told you that writing outcomes for a course, really that becomes the blueprint of everything. Okay, because it guides you for the teaching learning, it guides you assessment, it guides everything. Okay, ultimately that will lead to the attainment of the POs. Okay, so the outcomes of multiple level definitely. So what is to be assessed is the outcomes. Outcomes may be, but our outcomes will be at the session levels. Okay, because ultimately we have to attain the outcomes at the course level and the program level. Okay, so you might have experienced, you might have done the MTech and then PhD also, you might be, or you also might be giving projects to the students. Okay, so while starting the project, sometimes we write the objectives, or maybe if you are taking sessions, you are taking the practicals, you are taking the workshops. Okay, so during that time for a C session, you are planning something that these are the points I would be covering, or these are the objectives or the outlines or the my points that my students should be able to understand, that the basic concepts. Okay, if sometimes what happen even during MTech thesis or whatever, if you take, you have written certain outcomes. Okay, your MTech thesis is very nicely, you have drawn very good diagrams, Excel sheet and everything, and your presentation is very good, you had a very good communication skill, and you had presented in a very fluent manner, very nicely, your presentation skills were good. Okay, but 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 the outcomes which you have written for your MTech thesis, okay, are different. Your work which you have done for an entire period for 6 months, that is entirely different. Okay, you have written the outcomes in a very nice way with using all the action verbs and everything. Okay, but the outcomes which you have, the work you have done is not exactly not exactly means not mapping I would say, with the outcomes which you have written. And then when the examiners they come for assessment, they sometimes some examiners, sorry to say, many of the examiners they get deviated. Okay, many of the examiners, many of the teachers like us, we are the teachers, we are the examiners, we are the evaluators, we are the counselor, we are the judge, everything. Okay, so they just get deviated by the presentation style, and then the very nice presentation, very nice referencing, and then quoting, publishing papers in the international journal and many things. Okay, but we have not seen the very important thing which is to be seen is that whether your work and your presentation matches and map with the outcomes which you have planned. Okay, this is really very important, and that is the assessment which should be done, and that is the validity. Okay, if it is not matching, it means it is not valid. That's why the student asked that, madam, this question is out of curriculum bolte hain, out of syllabus bolte hain. Huh? Got the point? Validity. The concept is clear. Validity. The concept is clear. You got the point? Okay. Now coming to the validity, reliability. Reliability means suppose if I check X student, okay, I have given 8 marks out of 10. Okay, if I assess same copy after some time, maybe 2 hours or maybe 2 months or 2 years, then if the score is not same, it means there is no reliability in assessment. If I assess or if somebody else assess, okay, if the consistency in measurement is not there, it means there is no reliability of assessment. Okay, sometimes इसलिए बहुत सारे बच्चे if they are not satisfied with their marks, so they apply for revaluation. Okay, they apply for revaluation. So जब revaluation के लिए apply करते हैं, actually during revaluation our system, again I would say our teaching learning system, our assessment system should be so perfect that there should not be any deviation. But there, in many cases, I don't say in all the cases, but in many cases there is deviation, and then sometimes the enhancement in the marks is ranging from 20 to 50%. Okay, so it means our system, our assessment system is not reliable. Okay, that's why such things are taking place. Okay, so we as a teacher need to design. If you are understanding the concept, if you will understand the concept, definitely you will during implementation and assessment you will change all your strategies. Okay, so I think it is clear, reliability, but okay, but I think it is really very essential that sometimes what happen, but reliability can be in the negative direction also. Okay, like I took the example of the scooter driving. Okay, कि मैं 30 साल से स्कूटर ड्राइविंग कर रही हूँ, बट मैं गलत तरीके से कर रही हूँ ड्राइविंग और मेरा एक्सीडेंट भी नहीं हुआ. सो इट मीन्स देयर इज अ कंसिस्टेंसी इन माय ड्राइविंग, तभी ड्राइविंग में एक्सीडेंट नहीं हुआ, बट आई वाज डूइंग द रॉन्ग थिंग. Okay, so validity is essential. Got the point? Okay, so I may be teaching for the last 30 years, but I may not be teaching correctly. Okay, so that's why validity is really very important. Correctness is very important. Validity, then we talk about the reliability. Got the point? Okay, so consistency in measurement can be in the wrong direction also. Consistency in assessment, consistency in performance, it can be in the wrong direction also. So पहले validity को हमको check करना है, then we have to ensure that reliability is there. Got the point? Is it clear to everyone? Is it clear? Reliability. Okay, now I come to objectivity. Okay, objectivity, very important thing. If you are not writing, I think from the last 2 days you must be thinking how many times we are repeating that outcomes should be very, very specific. If you are not writing the outcomes very specific using the action verbs, you will not be able to design your strategy and doing the proper assessment. Okay, then definitely we will be asking questions like this, write short note on this. Okay, then explain 4-stroke engine. I don't know what is to be explained. Explain means what? Whether you are, means my teacher expects from me the diagram or the operation or the definition or the principle, or I don't know. So it means it means the question should be very, very specific. Got the point? So specificity is really very, very important when we are talking about the outcome-based curriculum, outcome-based education and assessment. You forget, you delete the general word from your dictionary in your mind. Okay, you have to be very specific in every terms, whether even in asking questions, in discussing, in performance and everything. Okay, this is really very, very important. So specificity is very important. Then only you will get the specific reply. Otherwise, what will happen, and we have seen also, sometimes some students keep on taking the copies, supplementary copies during examination. Okay, because the questions are not specific, and some students you might have observed they are not taking copies because our question is not clear. If question should be, there should be one interpretation of the question by the teacher, by the student, by the evaluator, by all students, I would say. If the question is not clear, my perception of this question would be different because teachers used to conduct such type of questions in the class. Okay, so the vague question should not be asked. It should be very specific questions. Even the question should be divided into different parts as per the for assessment of learning by different portions or different fragmentation of that particular question. Okay, so I think you have understood the concept of the objectivity and specificity. Is it clear? Okay, there is a separate session on the question paper design. I think that would be taken care of by all this thing. And then question paper design should be mapped with the course articulation matrix, which is really, it's not a number game. Okay, it has to be very meticulously designed, and then it should be mapped with the course evaluation plan, and then it should be, then we can think of the designing the question paper. Okay, I think I'm not going to touch on this. So I think the four characteristics are clear to everyone. Is that four characteristics clear to everyone? Validity, reliability, objectivity, and specificity. I will just summarize through the PowerPoint through
मैडम
certain
जी
example.
वैलिडिटी को थोड़ा सा
Just
और
hold on.
बताएंगे?
हाँ बिल्कुल बताएंगे,
थोड़ा
क्यों
सा
नहीं
एक बार
बताएंगे.
रिपीट कर दीजिए वैलिडिटी.
जी 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 जी. एक मिनट, पावर पॉइंट मैंने दूसरा शेयर कर रखा है, एक सेकंड. वैलिडिटी, देखिए वैलिडिटी मीन्स, एक आप बस इतना सा याद रखें कि वैलिडिटी मीन्स हमारा क्वेश्चन, बस एक याद रखें कि बच्चे जब ये बोलते हैं कि हमारा क्वेश्चन पेपर आउट ऑफ कोर्स है ना, क्वेश्चन पेपर आउट ऑफ कोर्स है मीन्स it is not mapping with the matching with the outcomes which we have decided. Okay, so ultimately जो हमने कोर्स आउटकम्स लिखे हैं उसी का असेसमेंट होना चाहिए. तो हमारा जो उसको हम बोलते हैं वैलिडिटी, मीन्स व्हाट इज रियली इंटेंडेड टू डू, दैट शुड बी असेस्ड. ओके, सो दैट इज द वैलिडिटी. यदि जैसे मैंने एक एग्जांपल इसलिए मैंने एग्जांपल लिया था कि एमटेक थीसिस का, कि आपने आउटकम्स कुछ लिखे हैं या ऑब्जेक्टिव्स, में ऑब्जेक्टिव्स बोल देती हूँ, चलिए कुछ भी बोलो, अब ऑब्जेक्टिव बोलो, एम बोलो, जो भी बोलो, है ना. तो ये हमने, आपने क्या किया, देखिए आप एक टीचर है, बहुत अच्छे पावर पॉइंट से आपको पढ़ा रहा है, बहुत अच्छा हुआ, ठीक है, बट आपको समझ में कुछ भी नहीं आया. ओके, सो आपने ऑब्जेक्टिव्स कुछ फिक्स किए और आपके टीचिंग लर्निंग की स्ट्रेटेजी भी बहुत अच्छी थी, बट लर्निंग नहीं ऑकर हुई. ओके, और हम फिर क्या कर रहे हैं, असेसमेंट उसमें कर रहे हैं, तो आपका ऑब्जेक्टिव ही नहीं अच्छे अटेन हुए, तो और हमारा असेसमेंट फिर हम किस पे. सो मीन्स मेरा कहने का मतलब है जो आउटकम्स जो हैं, वी हैव टू असेस right from the day when I am saying your outcomes, your instruction and your assessment should be aligned, and that is the validity. Okay, got the point कि नहीं?
यस सर, ठीक.
जो ऑब्जेक्टिव हमने निकाले हैं, जो हमने, मान लो हमने एमटेक के जो थीसिस के लिए हमने आउटकम्स लिखे हैं, उसी पे हमारा वर्क, उस ऑब्जेक्टिव्स को, एक ऑब्जेक्टिव लिया हमने, सपोज एक ऑब्जेक्टिव लिया, उस ऑब्जेक्टिव को करने के लिए हमने क्या क्या स्ट्रेटेजी प्लान की, तो ये ऑब्जेक्टिव हमारा हुआ, उसके लिए फिर हम असेसमेंट करेंगे. देन कमिंग टू द सेकंड ऑब्जेक्टिव, फिर हमने उसके लिए क्या क्या स्ट्रेटेजी प्लान किए, उस पर क्या वर्क किया, फिर उसका असेसमेंट करेंगे. सो हमारा यदि हमने 4 ऑब्जेक्टिव लिखे हैं तो हमारा असेसमेंट भी उसी के अलाइंड होना चाहिए. दैट इज द वैलिडिटी. गॉट द पॉइंट?
यस मैडम.
क्लियर? ओके ओके. नाउ जस्ट लेट मी शेयर द पावर पॉइंट. थोड़ा सा एग्जांपल मैं आपको ले लेती हूँ. जस्ट अ मिनट. Is it visible?
Yes, madam, it's visible.
Okay, okay. Am I audible?
Yes, madam.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
Yes, madam.
So these are the characteristics of assessment which we have seen. वैलिडिटी, रिलायबिलिटी, यूजेबिलिटी, प्रैक्टिकेबिलिटी और ऑब्जेक्टिविटी. हमने बड़ा ऐसा असेसमेंट सिस्टम डिजाइन कर लिया जो बहुत हाई लेवल का है, विच इज नॉट प्रैक्टिकेबल, वो भी हमको देखना होगा. ओके, तो मैं अब डेफिनेशंस पे तो नहीं जा रही हूँ, है ना. डेफिनेशन वैलिडिटी हम एग्जांपल पे डायरेक्टली आ रही हूँ. इंश्योरिंग वैलिडिटी, देखिए थोड़ा सा चलिए बता देती हूँ. Extent to which assessment procedure it does what it is intended to do. Okay, assessment is valid when we assess a student on desired learning outcome. जो desired learning outcome मतलब जो हमने outcomes लिखे हैं, ठीक है. So validity is a precondition for objectivity. Okay, ये मैंने आपको बोला ना, validity is a precondition for objectivity. And course validity के लिए हमको course articulation matrix and course evaluation plan are the tools to provide representative sample of curriculum in question paper to ensure content validity. जो मैंने एक एग्जांपल लिया आपको कि यदि हम हमारा it is a blueprint you can say for designing of the question paper. ओके, तो हमें इन चीजों को कि हमने 3 लिखा है, यदि हमारा 3 आया है, यदि 3 लिखा है, हमने 3 वेटेज दिया है, यदि हमारा जो लेवल है कोरिलेशन लेवल 3 आ रहा है ड्यूरिंग मैपिंग ऑफ सीओ और पीओ, तो 3 आ रहा है, तो 3 को पढ़ाने के लिए हमने कौन सी स्ट्रेटेजी यूज करी है. और 3 यदि हमारा थ्योरेटिकल इनपुट उसमें ज्यादा है तो हमारा उसमें क्वेश्चन पेपर आ जाएगा. जस्ट okay, for ensuring validity, provide model answers for design question. I think this is okay. I think this also I have explained. Reliability means consistency of measurement. I will take certain example. For enhancing ensuring validity, we design different types of questions, but the question should be specific and objective. Okay, reliability means results are consistent. Okay, or validity means results satisfy objectives. Got the point? Okay, results satisfy objectives means this is the summarization of the validity and reliability. Okay, then coming to certain examples. वैलिडिटी, यहाँ पे यदि हम फर्स्ट एग्जांपल लेते हैं, ये गोल पोस्ट है, यहाँ पे हम बॉल को हिट कर रहे हैं इनसाइड द गोल पोस्ट, तो क्या करेंगे हम. तो यहाँ पे बताइए क्या हुआ. फर्स्ट एग्जांपल में ये लिखा है ना, नॉट रिलायबल नॉट वैलिड. बताइए, एनीबडी कैन टेल मी ये नॉट रिलायबल या नॉन वैलिड नॉट वैलिड क्यों हुआ? बोलिए, कैन एनीबडी टेल मी व्हाई इट इज नॉट रिलायबल एंड नॉट वैलिड? एनीबडी?
बिकॉज मैम वो पूरे फ्रेम के बाहर जा रहा है.
नहीं, एक बताइए. हाँ, डॉक्टर पीयूष बताइए प्लीज, क्यों
मैम वो फ्रेम के बाहर जा रहा है इसलिए.
नहीं, नॉट रिलायबल हमने क्यों बोला?
वैलिड तो इसलिए नहीं है कि फ्रेम के बाहर जा रहा है मैम, और रिलायबल इसलिए कि वो
क्यों. वेरी गुड.
फ्रेम के अंदर भी नहीं है मैम एक्चुअली.
नहीं है फ्रेम के अंदर, इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? ओके,
वैलिड नहीं है.
हाँ, वेरी गुड है ना. एक मिनट, लेट मी आस्क शैलराज सर.
यस मैम.
हाँ जी, बोलिए, क्यों ये फर्स्ट वाला है नॉट रिलायबल नॉट वैलिड क्यों है? बताइए
मैम. वो डाइवर्स भी है, क्योंकि एक जगह किसी पर्टिकुलर डोमेन में डायरेक्शन में जा भी नहीं रहा, इसलिए रिलायबल भी नहीं है, वो अलग अलग.
वेरी गुड.
यूनिफॉर्म डायरेक्शन.
Because it is not नॉट रिलायबल इसलिए है क्योंकि इस साइड भी जा रहा है, इस साइड भी
रैंडम
जा रहा
एक्चुअली,
है,
वो रैंडम टाइप का
रैंडम
करता
है,
है।
दोनों साइड जा रहा है, यदि है ना, इसलिए नॉट रिलायबल। नॉट वैलिड मीन्स क्योंकि हमारा पर्पस क्या था,
फ्रेम
पर्पस
नहीं
तो
है।
ये था कि गोल पोस्ट के अंदर जाना चाहिए था। पर्पस देखिए लिखा है हमने, टू हिट ए बॉल इनसाइड ए गोल पोस्ट। यदि हमारा पर्पस आउटसाइड द गोल पोस्ट भी हम लिख सकते थे, देखिए है ना, कि या हम लिख सकते थे कि लेफ्ट साइड में जाना, हमारा पर्पस ये भी हो सकता था, लेकिन फिर हम यही होता है कि हम गलत पर्पस सेट कर रहे हैं। गॉट द पॉइंट? Okay, so it is not reliable, not valid. Okay, but in this case it is reliable because it is going only in one direction but it is not valid. Okay, और यहाँ पे it is valid also and it is reliable also. Got the point? I'm taking another example. आप मेला में जाते होंगे ना, तो आप देखते हैं कि अपन बैलून के थ्रू अपन करते हैं ना, इस तरीके से हिट करते हैं टारगेट में। दिस इज द टारगेट एट द सेंटर। ओके, सो शूटर्स टारगेटिंग द पॉइंट टी, दिस इज द पर्पस। तो यहाँ पे क्या होगा, यहाँ पे क्या होगा, देखिए एवरी टाइम व्हेन यू हिट द बॉल्स आर your target is you are hitting at this point, so it means it is reliable but it is not valid. Valid क्यों नहीं है बताइए? Anybody else? Somebody
सेंटर
else?
में नहीं है मैम, वो आउट ऑफ फ्रेम फोकस जा रहा है, जहाँ
डॉक्टर
फोकस
पीयूष
जाना
लोटे,
चाहिए
प्लीज
डायरेक्टिव
प्लीज।
नहीं है।
हाँ, जस्ट होल्ड ऑन। हाँ, डॉक्टर पीयूष लोटे, जस्ट मैं दूसरों को भी देना चाहती हूँ अपॉर्चुनिटी। पवन सर आप बोलिए, पवन कुमार सर। I am just really looking forward to hear from you, Pavan sir. I have been taking your name for quite some time. Pavan sir, not hitting the target, hence not in target. Okay. Anybody else? Shruti बोलिए please. Shruti.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
जी, good afternoon.
Ma'am, there are 3 diagrams. I have to explain all the 3.
First one.
Okay, first one is that it is valid because it is targeting to the same point. What is our purpose?
No. Just hold on. आपने फिर से बोली,
Yes,
आपने
yes.
please can you please repeat?
Ma'am, what is the purpose? We are attaining it by hitting it at the center. That is validity, that is accuracy. And reliability is because it is hitting all the time. Matlab, after every time it is hitting the same point. That's why it is reliable.
No. My question is, ma'am, please try to understand my question.
Okay,
Why
ma'am.
all the target means every time when you tried, all the concentration is on the right side. So why it is reliable but not valid? Can you just explain this?
Yes,
मैडम
ma'am.
मैं बताऊं?
एक मिनट मैडम को करने दीजिए ना, बोलिए
Ma'am,
मैडम।
it is reliable because it is hitting at the same point every time.
Very good. Okay.
Or it is not valid because it is not hitting at the center. What is our purpose?
Very good, madam. Now coming to the next person who has raised the hand. Anybody else who want to speak? Anybody? Okay. Anybody who wants to speak? Okay. The second target is the second point is it is neither reliable nor valid. Okay, because it is scattering. Okay, it is not hitting at the center. Moreover, it is going in all the directions. So that's why it is neither reliable not valid. Okay, but the third diagram, it is valid and reliable. Okay, so every time our purpose is hitting at the center, so every time when you hit, it is going inside the at the center point, so it is the valid and reliable. Got the point? So our assessment system should be, first of all, reliability केवल होने से नहीं होगा, है ना, जैसे मैंने बोला कि कंसिस्टेंसी इन मेजरमेंट तो रॉन्ग डायरेक्शन में भी हो सकता है. सो दिस इज द एग्जांपल ऑफ द फर्स्ट डायग्राम शोज दैट. सो यदि कंसिस्टेंसी इन मेजरमेंट है, but every time I am teaching for the last 20 years, but I am not teaching the right concept. Okay, Got the point? So this is not the right assessment. Okay. So neither reliable nor valid. So this is the model answer. You can say this is the true assessment. Okay. So this should be there. So so this is really required. So validity is really required, and then objectivity, I think I have increased all this thing. So when we apply for revaluation, okay, so when the students apply for revaluation, okay, so that time if your questions are specific, your answers are specific, your objective and specific questions are there, then definitely your validity will be there, and definitely if validity is there, then reliability will be there. Got the point? Okay. So this is all about the characteristic of assessment. Now I would move to the third part. I think that we are left with only 40 minutes, so I have to be hurried up. So I think it is okay. Shall I move to my next topic, tools of assessment? Shall I move to the next topic?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, what are the tools of assessment? Can somebody tell what are the tools of the assessment? What are the tools you are already using? I think you must be knowing better tools than what I would be communicating. Sundar answer. बोलिए. What are the tools of assessment? बोलिए. आप बोलिए ना please. Direct, indirect tool. Means देखिए. We have okay, very good. Direct, indirect tools. Direct tools बताइए. जो हम यूज कर रहे हैं. ओके, ये तो ठीक है, आपने बहुत सही आंसर.
मैम डायरेक्ट टूल्स में हम असाइनमेंट्स देते हैं, हम समेटिव टेस्ट लेते हैं, हम क्लास टेस्ट लेते हैं, हम प्रेजेंटेशंस लेते हैं, वाइवा लेते हैं, ये सारा डायरेक्ट टूल्स है.
वेरी गुड, वेरी गुड. और क्या करते हैं? वेरी गुड.
मैम इंडस्ट्रियल ट्रेनिंग.
कहाँ से मैडम? मैडम आप कहाँ से?
जी मैम, मैं गवर्नमेंट गर्ल्स पॉलिटेक्निक बिलासपुर.
वेरी गुड. गवर्नमेंट गर्ल्स पॉलिटेक्निक बिलासपुर. वेरी गुड. ओके. Anybody else who can, जो आप लोग यूज कर रहे हैं, आप लोगों को सब मालूम है. नीलम माथुर लिख रही है वर्बल एंड राइटिंग. ओके. और बोलिए.
मिड टर्म, अटेंडेंस, असाइनमेंट, माइक्रो प्रोजेक्ट,
सेमिनार. वेरी गुड. बिल्कुल यही सारे टूल्स ऑफ असेसमेंट है हमारे. फॉर्मेटिव असेसमेंट. ओके, फॉर्मेटिव असेसमेंट है हमारा. एनीबडी एल्स और कुछ कहना चाहता है इस बारे में? टेस्ट लेते हैं हम, प्रोजेक्ट दे रहे हैं, माइक्रो प्रोजेक्ट देते हैं. शुरू के सेशन, शुरू माइक्रो बोलो, मिनी बोलो, जो आपको बोलना है बोलिए. अल्टीमेटली लास्ट में कैपस्टोन प्रोजेक्ट होता है ना. So where we are thinking of integrating all the skills which we have, which the student has learned over the time. Okay. So it's not that हम जब प्रोजेक्ट पद की बात करते हैं कि हर वक्त ही इनोवेटिव हो. जरूरी नहीं कि फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर में हमारा पर्पस, आप पर्पस डिफाइन करो हर वक्त. प्रोजेक्ट हम जब बोलते हैं तो इनोवेटिव क्रिएटिव की बात करते हैं डेफिनेटली. ओके, बट टू हैव ए फील ऑफ प्रोजेक्ट इन द फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर, मे बी that innovativeness, that creativity may not be there, but they will develop the habit of inculcating creativity and inculcate in this innovativeness. We are trying to germinate the seed of creativity, innovation, and all these things right at the first semester. That's why we are giving the projects right at the first semester. Okay, but here we will not measure them with the same scale which we will measure at the last semester during project assessment. Okay, there I think there is one session on the project assessment rubric. Okay, then there you can see there are so many points for project assessment, but maybe in the first semester you can dilute or you can assess the student at certain low level. For them, their low level of creativity, maybe you can consider them at the excellent level, because at least he has tried that creativity. Okay, your purpose was germinating the seed of creativity and innovation in the first semester, so that initiation is the was your purpose. Okay, so that initiation has started, so you are giving excellent marks to that student. Okay, that is really very important, because for me that is really the purpose. Okay, so somebody has written the quiz project, so many things are there. Okay, charts. But my purpose is that sometimes what happens during, even we have experienced also from our own wards, that how the teachers are giving even to the small class students. Okay, you do this project because it is there, because we have to give the project, that's why. And all the parents, mothers and fathers are making, sisters and brothers are making the projects of small students. Okay, so it should not be there. It should be innovative, creative exercise. It should be motivating to the students. It should be they are learning something and we are developing many skills in the student. That should be there. Okay, so the assignments, if you are using as a tool of assessment, or the projects or everything we are using as a tool of assessment, we have to see that they should not be just for the sake of assessment, because it is planned in the evaluation plan. Okay, it should not happen. Okay, so you allow certain space for that, provide resources, develop a room where you can provide the science kit, a tool kit, or you can call it a resource center, where all equipment, tool, resources, materials you keep. Incubation center, you can call it, whatever you call it. Okay, so develop, give certain lenses, tools, basic tools, so they can, and time also, not only the resources but the time also. Time slot for 3 hours in a week maybe, or twice in a week, so that they get space and develop the habit, and then interact with other students, discuss with the teachers, discuss with the peers, so many things. Okay, so then only we can develop this culture, and then that would be the valid assessment, valid tool, if we are saying the project or assignment as a tool of assessment. Got the point? Okay, so this is really very, very important. Then coming to the observation, what are the other tools? I think observation is also one of the tool of assessment, very strong tool of assessment in all the 3 domains. Okay, very important. Okay, like you might have also seen that while observation, you can assess many things, especially the affective domain. Okay, even the psychomotor domain, if you are assessing the student, if you are performing as a model experiment or a model demonstration, if you are demonstrating perfectly, then definitely student will observe it very nicely, and then they will try to follow that. Okay, and then they will try to practice that. Okay, so that's why your model demonstration by you, that can be used as a, that should be very perfect. And that's why, as I have been again and again repeating, maybe for each experiment, each activity which you feel that your student should be able to develop, you develop a small 5-6 minutes of videos through your mobile. Okay, but that should be the perfect one. Okay, you can give it the link, you can give in the class, and they can see it many times. Definitely they will develop, and you can they will develop many skills. Okay, so that is really very, very important. And then you can think of developing many skills through that. Okay, so observation can be in a planned way, and it can be in the spontaneous also. Okay, when you are observing the students, okay, and trying to give the feedback in the planned way, then there are different tools like checklist. Okay, then you can think of developing the rating scale. Okay, and then you can go further to the rubric. Okay, so I think this is really where these are very, very important tool for assessment. And then during practical, and somebody said about the external examination in the viva voce also, what is to be asked in the viva voce, that is also really very important, because what happens, the examiner comes and then they start asking the questions in which they are competent. Okay, that should not be there. And even it is the responsibility of the teachers to brief all the student examiners in different institutions what has been done as per the requirement of the outcomes, and what checklist you have prepared for each experiment for students to perform and then to assess. Okay, and even students are doing the self assessment on the basis of that checklist also. Okay, and then that your examiner should ask questions based on that. Even the examiner should ask the questions based on the experimentation, based on the equipment, based on the probing questions, but not the questions of such sort like define this, what is the unit of this, and all this, all rote memory learning type of questions. We should encourage why it is happening, what is the reason why it is this. Okay, cause and effect type of questions, probing questions, equipment related question. If I just change the sample while determining the pH, then what will happen, like this. If we do, then I think definitely the viva voce will be valid. Otherwise it would not be a valid viva voce. Okay, because here the purpose is testing the prerequisite knowledge, the minimum theoretical knowledge which is really required. We have the end semester examination, we have the theory paper for assessing the theoretical concept. Concept means that in depth the other things, the theory part related to the practical should be asked in the viva voce, not the all the theory which is there in the curriculum. What the point? Okay, and that should be probing questions related to the practical. Otherwise your viva voce is not the valid viva voce. Okay, so you should also even just as an experimental purpose also, you as a teacher can also think of designing certain you can design certain questions for each experiment, so that you develop a question bank of viva voce, you develop a question bank of a theory examination, for practical examination. You have a lot of things to do. Okay, so that can be done. So I think it is viva voce is there, checklist. What is checklist? Anybody can say what is checklist? Can anybody tell me what is checklist? What is checklist? What is rating scale? And what is rubric? Anybody? Anybody? Anuradha madam? Anuradha madam, can you just tell me what is checklist? Very common term.
Yes,
when we go on. जी बोलिए अनुराधा मैडम.
हाँ मैम, चेकलिस्ट में जैसे कि लैब का ही मैं बताऊंगी एग्जांपल. जैसे प्रैक्टिकल हम ले रहे हैं तो उसमें सही तरीके से लाइक सिस्टम, हम लोग कंप्यूटर साइंस वाली हूँ मैं, तो कंप्यूटर को सही से ऑन किया उसने कि नहीं. जैसे प्रिंट नॉर्मली एक अपना नाम है, उसको प्रिंट लेना है, तो उसने किस तरीके से उसका प्रोग्राम लिखा है, वो स्टेप कैसे फॉलो किया, कि क्या उसने लाइक जावा का लिख रहे हैं तो उसने सारा कुछ लिखा है कमेंट लाइन दिया है, उसके बारे में बताया है, प्रोग्राम उसने क्या लिख रहा है वो बताया है कि नहीं, ये सब एक एक पॉइंट में चेकलिस्ट बना देगी। उसने ये किया तो ओके डन, ये किया ओके डन, इस टाइप का मतलब वो चेकलिस्ट होगा मैम।
Okay, very good, Anuradha madam. Anybody else who want to supplement Anuradha madam? Anybody who
क्राइटेरिया
हाँ
मैम चेक लिस्ट मतलब एक क्राइटेरिया सेट करेंगे कि ये जो है ये प्रोसेस को वो किस टाइप से करेगा, तो हर एक क्राइटेरिया के लिए हम लोग एक कुछ मार्क्स अलॉट करेंगे कि ये इस हिसाब से असिस्ट होगा।
ओके, देखिए तो आपने बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट सर रेज किया कि हमने क्राइटेरिया मीन्स सो क्राइटेरिया तो है ठीक है, बट क्राइटेरिया मीन्स इट इज नॉट द क्राइटेरिया ऑफ परफॉर्मेंस, गॉट द पॉइंट? Okay, it can be a criteria of performance, it can be a criteria of assessment, but not all the points. So checklist means, checklist सबसे पहले means होगा कि जब points या criteria जो भी आप बोलो, milestone indicators जो भी आप बोलो, it whether it is there or not, है ना, इसने किया भी कि नहीं किया. Like if I take a very crude example, if I have to go on tour, okay, so at least I have to keep my, if I have to go on official tour, I have to keep the laptop, okay, I have to keep the pen drive, okay, I have to keep the this miss like this, you can make a list, okay, so that is the checklist. Okay, so the very important thing, if I'm going, my purpose is if I'm going for a training program, that laptop is essential. Okay, so that would be there. If I, apart from the laptop, if I am talking about that, I have to take something for my breakfast, and then if I have to take something for something means other things. So that is not the, that is desirable, but I am talking about the essential checklist. And you can, for each experiment, you can prepare a checklist of many items, 20 points. But what are the most important points, criteria, which is really essential? So checklist should be, it should not be a each and every step of performance, but it would be a milestone performance. So while formative assessment, when the student is performing, that time we cannot see, we have to see that whether he has done this or not, very important point. So that should be checked. Okay, so that is the checklist. Okay, so what, whether he has done it or not, okay. ओके, आपने स्कूटर सीख लिया तो अब स्कूटर सीख लिया आपने यदि, तो अब आपका स्टार्ट करते समय बंद तो नहीं होता. ओके, ओके, नाउ कैन यू ड्राइव, आप पार्किंग कर लेंगे क्या? ओके, कैन यू ड्राइव इन द हिली एरिया? If I am telling you, if I am saying somebody that he is a perfectionist in driving, okay, so it means I am talking about the outcome attainment, तो क्या वो चीजें कर पाएगा? These may be my indicators. Okay, okay, और आप थोड़े से और भी बना सकते हैं. Okay, so likewise, got the point? The checklist means presence or absence of that indicator, that is the checklist. Okay, like because we have to often go on tours, so I have prepared a checklist. When a checklist bana ke rakhi, these are the things I have to carry on when I am going on official tour. When I have to go on winters, what is my checklist? So this is the checklist. Got the point? So for each and every activity, you should have a very important checklist, important things. So you don't forget. If I forget the specs, very important thing. Okay, got the point? So I think checklist is okay. Okay. Now coming to the rating scale. What is rating scale? What is rating scale? Anybody? Anybody? Rating scale?
Ma'am, up to which level someone has performed the task?
Very good.
Up to which level?
Up to which to perform the task नहीं, जो आपने
Task,
point
yes.
लिखे हैं, है ना?
Yeah.
जो आपने
What we
indicator
have
लिखे
given.
हैं, ना, जो आपने इंडिकेटर लिखे, जैसे मैं कम्युनिकेशन स्किल बोलूं कि my outcome is communicate effectively is my outcome. Okay, so but my outcome communicate effectively is for maybe for the person who is doing MA in English. Okay, I don't expect communicate effectively in English. If I say so, it may be for MA in English. Okay, but for maybe for engineering or maybe for diploma, if I say, if he is able to communicate properly in his regional language also, and with some mistake, but he's communicating very nicely. I would say he's communicating effectively. Okay, so for me, I'm not expecting the fluency in English or without spelling mistake, and there should not be grammatical mistake and all these things. I
You
don't
need to explain the desired things.
yeah, I'm not expecting such things from my diploma students
Yeah,
uh,
naturally.
in English. Okay. So because that is not my purpose. My purpose is communicating effectively. So maybe he is in Chhattisgarhi language, he can understand, explain me very nicely. In Gujarati language, he can explain me very nicely. Okay. So he is able to communicate effectively the task, the purpose. Okay. That experiment, that is my purpose.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is means to what extent. So for me the excellent, I am at this level, he is excellent for me. But for MA English, the same rubric or the rating scale which I'm saying, rating scale means poor, fair, good, very good, excellent,
Yeah.
whatever you say. Okay, 4 point. Normally we prepare 4 point. So excellent, the same scale would be different for
Very.
in different context. This is really very important to understand. Okay,
Yes.
sometimes हमने किसी की कॉपी कर ली स्केल और हम उसको सेम अपने इंस्टीट्यूशन के लिए, अपने स्टूडेंट के लिए हम अप्लाई करते हैं. दैट इज नॉट द करेक्ट वे. ओके, हमारा कंटेक्स्ट डिफरेंट है, स्टूडेंट्स डिफरेंट है, लेवल्स डिफरेंट है, हमारा पर्पस डिफरेंट है. जैसे मैंने प्रोजेक्ट बोला, फर्स्ट सेमेस्टर में हमारा दूसरा पर्पस है ना, सीड जर्मिनेशन का है. ओके, लास्ट सेमेस्टर में दूसरा पर्पस है. लेकिन आप प्रोजेक्ट का कहीं राइटअप पढ़ेंगे तो आप बोलेंगे कि अभी आपको पढ़ाया भी जाए कि वहां पे क्रिएटिविटी होना जरूरी है, इनोवेटिवनेस होना जरूरी है, लेकिन हमारा वहां पे पर्पस कि हमारा इनिशिएशन था केवल. ओके, गॉट द पॉइंट. Okay, so rating skill means that indicator is present. Now that is for sure, that indicator is present. She is able to communicate, but to what extent, that is told by that is represented by the rating scale. Got the point? Got the point? Is it clear? So checklist is clear, rating scale is clear to everyone. Now coming to the rubric. Okay, what is rubric? बहुत क्रूड टर्म्स में मैं बताऊंगी, so that in the next sessions, though you have the another sessions in the coming days, I think if you will understand the concept, I think you will be able to write, you will be able to develop a very good rubric. Okay, then you will be able to think, will be thinking that it's such an important tool. I need to develop the rubric bank in my institution for my students, for I would say for valid and reliable and objective and practicable assessment. जो हमने कैरेक्टरिस्टिक की बात करी, अब हमको यहाँ पे लिंक करना है उसको. ओके, जो हमने टूल की असेसमेंट की बात करी, ये हम चेकलिस्ट, रेटिंग स्केल, रूब्रिक की क्यों बात कर रहे हैं? बिकॉज अवर असेसमेंट शुड बी वैलिड, रिलायबल, ओके, ऑब्जेक्टिव, प्रैक्टिकेबल. अदरवाइज यदि नहीं हुआ तो देन इट मीन्स हम टूल्स को आइसोलेशन में बात नहीं कर सकते. टूल्स शुड मैप विथ ऑल द कैरेक्टरिस्टिक विच आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट. Okay, it should map with all the characteristics. It should be valid tool, it should be reliable, it should be objective, and it should be objective की बात तो होगी ना, it should be practicable है ना. If you develop a very good rubric, definitely ये एक तरह से हमारे लिए asset हो जाएगा. Okay, and you can use it, you can revise it further. Okay, and then you can use it for in your years to come. Okay, you can different teachers can sit together, can have a lot of brainstorming and develop all these checklists, rating scale, rubrics in your for all the activities which you are thinking, whether everything. Okay, depending on the time, maybe you can think of planning only first of all checklist, maybe for your experiments. Suppose you have 10 experiments in your curriculum. For each experiment, at least you prepare checklist. Then maybe in the second stage, आप उसको checklist के साथ rating skill भी develop कर लीजिए. Okay. Then you think of developing the rubric. Rubric means, what is rubric? What is rubric? Can somebody tell me what is rubric? Can somebody tell me what is rubric? Vaibhav Pratap Singh. Vaibhav sir. Vaibhav.
Yes,
Vaibhav.
ma'am. Actually, ma'am, it is the order in which we select certain things.
Like.
That is called as rubrics. It's
Okay,
like it is it's the parameters. I think parameters would be the proper definition for rubrics.
सर आप कहाँ से हैं सर?
मैम पॉलिटेक्निक दंतेवाड़ा मैम.
दंतेवाड़ा, वेरी गुड. ओके. तो आपने इंडक्शन प्रोग्राम अटेंड किया है सर?
कौन सा मैम?
इंडक्शन प्रोग्राम आपने अटेंड किए हैं सर?
नो मैम, इंडक्शन प्रोग्राम हमने अटेंड नहीं किया मैम.
कितने साल हो गए आपको?
मैम हमको 12 इयर्स हो गया मैम पॉलिटेक्निक कॉलेज में. AICT के इंडक्शन प्रोग्राम में एक्चुअली हम लोग के फैकल्टीज को एसोसिएट करते हैं हम लोग. कभी दो फैकल्टीज इन ईयर, बट हमारा अभी टर्म नहीं आया है मैम.
ओके ओके ओके, चलिए ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं.
थैंक
तो
यू.
वैभव सर, रुब्रिक, एनीबडी एल्स?
Ma'am, set of instruction in printed form or in some way
सेट ऑफ
to be followed
इंस्ट्रक्शन प्रिंटेड फॉर्म. तो
or
चेकलिस्ट
to be followed.
नीलम मैडम, फिर चेकलिस्ट क्या है?
No, set of instruction to for the purpose means what are to be followed. What set of instruction to be followed?
ओके, तो चेकलिस्ट, आप चेकलिस्ट के बारे में बताइए.
No, ma'am. Rubrics.
रूब्रिक. तो फिर मेरा वही कहना है, फिर चेकलिस्ट क्या हुआ? सेट ऑफ इंस्ट्रक्शन बोला आपने, तो चेकलिस्ट क्या हुआ फिर?
नहीं, चेकलिस्ट मीन्स
देखिए, हम ना कंसेप्ट को जब हम पढ़ा रहे हैं, मींस व्हेन वी आर डिस्कसिंग, आप अपने सिचुएशन के बारे में सोचिए. जो मैंने एग्जांपल लिया कि एक एक्सपेरिमेंट करा रहे हैं, एक्सपेरिमेंट में हमको क्या चेकलिस्ट, मैंने बार बार बोल रही हूँ, माइलस्टोन
चेकलिस्ट. यस,
मुझे यहाँ से, है ना, मुझे यहाँ से यदि छत्तीसगढ़ जाना है, तो मेरे रास्ते में कौन कौन से स्टेशन पड़ेंगे, दैट इज द माइलस्टोन्स, है ना. सो आई शुड नॉट बी डेविएटेड. मैं मुझे और गलत डायरेक्शन में ना चले जाऊं, मैं कार से जा रही हूँ तो. ओके, गूगल मैप का एक लिए जस्ट टू लीड यू टू द राइट डायरेक्शन. ओके ओके, तो दीज आर द माइलस्टोन इंडिकेटर्स. तो वही हमको चेक करना है कि चेकलिस्ट शुड बी, इट इज अ काइंड ऑफ, यू कैन मेजर पॉइंट्स, मेजर क्राइटेरिया, मेजर, बिकॉज आउटकम बेस्ड एजुकेशन टॉक्स अबाउट द क्राइटेरिया. तो हमने चेकलिस्ट की बात कर ली थी, रेटिंग स्केल की बात कर ली थी. अब हम रूब्रिक में आ रहे हैं, है ना. रेटिंग स्केल में आपने बोल दिया कि वो टू व्हाट एक्सटेंट. ओके, रेटिंग स्केल मींस टू व्हाट एक्सटेंट दैट क्राइटेरिया इज प्रेजेंट. ओके, यदि मेरी लर्निंग स्किल्स हैं या रीडिंग स्किल्स हैं, तो रीडिंग स्किल्स मेरी अप टू व्हाट एक्सटेंट, whether I can read excellent or in a very good or poor. Okay, so I have to just tick it on the criteria number 1. On criteria number 1, reading, suppose I am poor. Okay, so I set the another indicator for communication skill like listening skills. So on the listening skill, I am excellent. Okay, but when it comes to the writing skills of the communicate effectively, the outcome, if I write the outcome communicate effectively, suppose one of the criteria is writing skill. Okay, so communication does not mean only the verbal communication. So one of the criteria is writing skill. So when it comes to the writing skills, so I commit lot of mistakes. So I am poor in writing skills. So it means I am poor in writing skills. I can frame sentence very nicely, but I commit lot of mistakes, spelling mistakes. Okay. So when I write the description of poor, okay, so if I am writing the description of excellent, that I can write very good sentences without any spelling mistake. Okay, and I also am able to communicate the purpose, intent. Okay, so it means I am excellent. Okay, so it means when you are describing the poor, describing the excellent on that particular, for that particular criteria, so it means it is a rubric. So it means checklist is first stage. Okay, Rating scale is another stage. You can say the extension of the, and we are enhancing the validity. Okay, enhancing the validity and reliability by introducing the rating scale in the checklist. What the point? The third point, third stage is when we are writing the descriptive, when we are writing the descriptive rating scale on the specified, identified criteria, that is known as the rubric. Okay, got the point? Is it clear to everyone? If and the purpose of rubric is, even as it has so many stakeholders. Okay, teachers. For teachers, it is very important because teachers know what would be the criteria for performance. सारे टीचर, यदि मैं एक न्यूली अपॉइंटेड टीचर हूँ, मुझे ज्यादा मालूम नहीं है अभी कैसे पढ़ाना है, कैसे क्या करना है, और एक 10-15 साल से टीचर पढ़ा रहे हैं, वो तो आप क्या पढ़ा रहे हैं, आपकी एक्सपर्टाइज हो सकती है. सो देयर वुड बी यूनिफॉर्मिटी ऑफ इंस्ट्रक्शन, there would be uniformity of performance and uniformity of assessment. Very important point. Got the point? एक एक्सपेरिमेंट हमने लिखा. एक एक्सपेरिमेंट के लिए हमारे क्या हो जाएगा, हम एक्सपेरिमेंट को भी हम दो पार्ट में डिवाइड कर सकते हैं, प्रोसेस एंड प्रोडक्ट, जैसे हम डिस्कस कर चुके. प्रोसेस असेसमेंट मीन्स ड्यूरिंग परफॉर्मेंस हमारे क्राइटेरिया होंगे फॉर दैट पर्टिकुलर एक्सपेरिमेंट, एंड देन प्रोडक्ट के लिए हमारे क्या क्राइटेरिया होंगे फॉर दैट पर्टिकुलर एक्सपेरिमेंट. ओके, दैट इज फर्स्ट ऑफ द इंपॉर्टेंट. मतलब वैलिड होने चाहिए. क्राइटेरिया कैसे होने चाहिए? वैलिड होने चाहिए विद द पर्पस ऑफ दैट एक्सपेरिमेंट. व्हाट द पॉइंट? ये तो वैलिडिटी हो गई. उसके बाद हमने रेटिंग स्केल लिखा. उसके लिए हर क्राइटेरिया के लिए हम यदि डिस्क्रिप्शन लिख रहे हैं तो इट मीन्स इट इज अ रूब्रिक. Okay, so to what extent, and then we are writing the description of the poor performance in the writing skills, it means, and the excellent performance in the writing skills, that is the rubric. So it is not that people have the misconception that rubric is prepared only for the practical, for the experiments, for the project work, for the seminar. No. You can prepare for any activity which you feel, and if you want to do the things objectively and systematically and in a very meticulous way. Okay, so that there would be, if you are preparing the rubric, then it means we are fulfilling the criteria of validity. Got the point? Now can you correlate with the characteristic which we have understood? The validity है ना हमारी, क्योंकि हमने क्राइटेरिया उस हिसाब से आइडेंटिफाई किए. रिलायबिलिटी भी होगी बिकॉज देयर वुड बी नो डेविएशन. यदि हम इसी कॉपी को, यदि हम उसको असेसमेंट कर रहे हैं एक स्टूडेंट को बेस्ड ऑन द रूब्रिक, देयर वोंट बी मच डेविएशन. यदि स्टूडेंट रीवैल्यूएशन के लिए अप्लाई कर रहा है तो देयर वुड बी नॉट डेविएशन. जो बायसेस हैं टीचर्स के और वो सब डिमिनिश हो जाएंगे. इट कैन बी मिनिमाइज्ड. ओके, जितनी आपकी परफेक्ट रूब्रिक बनेगी, जितनी आपकी क्लैरिटी होगी ऑन द आउटकम्स, जितनी आपकी परफॉर्मेंस में क्लैरिटी होगी, वो ही देन ओनली द रिलायबिलिटी विल इंक्रीज. But rubric, checklist and rating scale cannot be prepared by all teachers for all the courses. Very important things. Only those teachers can prepare the checklist and rubric for a particular task who are well aware about, who have a deep comprehension about that particular topic. Everybody cannot prepare the rubric for the project or industrial training or seminar or presentation skills unless you have in-depth knowledge about that particular concept. If you know what is really required to be tested, how it is to be performed, then only you will be able to prepare the right instrument, right tool. Okay, right, you will be able to identify the right checklist. इसीलिए आप अपने उसी एक्सपेरिमेंट का, उसी चीज का आप रूब्रिक बनाइए जिसमें आपको बहुत इन डेप्थ नॉलेज है। यदि नहीं नॉलेज है तो गेन करिए, समझिए दूसरों से, टीचर से, जूनियर्स से। Okay, there is no harm in understanding the juniors. Even we are also learning, means we have no concept of the junior and senior and the coordinators and co-coordinators. Okay, we are learning from each other. Okay, it is really very important. Then only your instrument would be valid. Okay, get me, it can be prepared only by a group of teacher, not by single teacher. It has to be continuously updated. Okay, maybe you think at this time, okay, it has, if you have prepared perfectly, then it means you can put it on the website also. Okay, website means you need to standardize that. Really very important. It will take time. Okay, so you as a teacher need to develop rubric bank for rubric bank, at least to start with. I would say checklist and rating a scale. Then you can definitely shift to the rubric. You can prepare the rubric bank, question bank for formative assessment, summative assessment. Definitely it is really required and the need of the day. Okay, it should not be just for the means it's like you have prepared 1,000 questions, but you don't know whether it is correct or not. Okay, so, and whether it is matching with the purpose, that is really very important. So I think you got the, so this assessment rubric, what I really wanted to say, it has so many stakeholders like teachers who for uniformity of instructions and performance, and there would be uniformity in teaching by all teachers in all the sections for the same curriculum. Got the point? Okay. Then even the students, as a student, I know what I have to perform and what I have to assess. Sometimes we do all the experiment, but we don't know what is to be done. Okay, we just focus on the end result. That result जो हमारा 2.54 आना था तो 2.54 ही आना चाहिए, उसमें से deviation नहीं होना चाहिए. No, not like this. Okay, so it is good for the students on what point I would be assessed. Okay, so the things are very transparent for everyone. Even if the evaluator comes, he knows what is to be assessed and what they have performed. Okay, and then as a student, Dr. Piyush Lotia sir, I think I had explained, he was discussing with me regarding the assessment as learning. Okay. Yes, so we were talking about self-assessment. Okay, so when the rubric is there, and if it is, I can rate myself as a student on this particular criteria, writing skills, I am very poor because the indicators, descriptive indicators are written. So as a student, I can do SWOT for myself. What are my weaknesses, where I stand on that particular outcomes on writing a skill. Okay, like I am very poor in writing a skill, but I am very good in reading a skills. I got excellent in reading a skill. Okay, and I am very poor in writing a skill. I am very poor in following the safety precautions, but I can perform the experiment very nicely. I can handle the experiment very nicely. Okay, so I can assess as a student myself that which is really required for the outcome attainment, because it is mapping with my COs for my outcomes of that particular experiment, and then ultimately that experiment outcome ultimately would lead to the COs. So it means that is really required. So as a student, I can self-assess myself and I can think of where I need improvement. Okay. So these really, the set of skills, every time I am saying the set of skills, really, I would say it's the same set of skills. You as a teacher need to identify the set of skills, outcomes in the students for a particular course, the basic skills and the for that particular course, and you have to see how you can develop in your student. Can I take more 5 minutes just to show you the PPT? Sir?
Sure, please continue.
Okay, sir. Okay, just for summarization, I will show you I think just hold on. Just a minute, I am presenting. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. Okay, I think Madam has said direct and indirect tools of assessment. Normally, we are using direct tool of assessment. I will also come to the indirect tool of assessment. I think I have already discussed about this, that we are focusing on in outcome whenever we are talking about the outcome based assessment, it is a criteria reference testing. So when we are talking about the criteria reference testing, it means it should be objective and specific. Got the point? Okay, so every time I am talking about milestone indicators, criteria, and all this thing. Okay, so you don't have to. So your student would be assessed not in comparison with the other student. कि उस student के 70 आए और मेरे 75 आए. No, not like this. And another student has got 98% and I got 80%. No, not like this. It should be based on the criteria. The criteria means the outcomes which we have fixed. Okay, so we have to, that's why the concept of rubric has come. So as I said, I am poor in writing a skill. It means I need to improve on that. So I am poor in that particular criteria, one of the criteria. So I need to improve on this. Okay, so I have my own profile in front of my eyes. It's a self-reflection, you can say, when we see ourselves in mirror. Okay, so where I stand myself in that particular activity, maybe in an experiment, maybe in the project, maybe in the seminar, if the rubrics are developed very meticulously. And I would just with this forum, I would like to propagate that you as in an institution need to develop the right kind of rubrics. There are so many skills rubric you will find in the net, but they are not correct, I would say. I'm sorry to say that. Okay, if you have understood the concept of the rubric very correctly, then I would say these are not the rubric actually. Okay, just you can get the feel of what is rubric, that's all. But you as a teachers, you the competent teacher of the different organization, the different subject, different courses, different field, different administration, management. I know Dr. Piyush Lotia is now managing, he's the principal of now, he's a EC person, but he's a principal now. Dr. Bedi is a principal, but they're competent in their field also, so they can do both the things, and then they can propagate of developing the banks, rubric banks through this forum. Okay, so the criteria, so we have to assess the student based on the criteria, not with the comparison with the other student. Please, it has to be abolished. Okay, I think I have discussed all these things. So because of short of time, I am not able to do all these things. I think you know most of the things. I'm just showing you a project-based learning, field skill training, video demonstration, so many things. Portfolio-based a little I would, and self-assessment I think I have also done. But you need to propagate the portfolios. You need to encourage your students to develop the portfolio. Portfolio means it's like a collection of leaves. Leaves means it is derived from the word. So it means the assignments right from the day one you are doing. So when you will see the project portfolio, assignment portfolio, okay. So right from the day one, when you see, when you were in semester one, what kind of project you were doing, and when you are at the last semester, what kind of project you are doing. So you can assess yourself, and you can even the evaluator can see that how much he has or she has developed over a period of time. Okay, there should be improvement. There is a, because NBA also talks about the continuous improvement, there should be improvement. Okay, so even it gives us the self-reflection also, and for the others also to understand. Self-assessment also I think I have discussed a lot. We are doing a full one week program on all these aspects. So just I have given you the one point for this, and most of the tools I think you are using it. The indirect tool of assessment, the graduate exit survey, course exit, graduate exit survey. Okay, means at the after the completion of the program, you can develop a questionnaire, and then you can take the feedback that whether whatever you wanted to, so whether how much they have learned and all this thing, you can do the survey. Even the course exit survey. Okay, even I would say even you can think of taking the exit survey even after a topic also. Okay, if there are any doubts. Okay, then you can identify the learning gaps. That learning gaps you can address. Okay, why only graduate and course exit survey? It can be a topic wise also, outcome wise also. Okay, you can think of different strategy. I think you might be thinking, and you might have many ideas about all these things. Employer survey, how whether my students is performing well or not, whether there are certain gaps. Okay, so you can take the feedback from that. Okay, so but your student is very good in the practical skills, but he is not able to prepare the reports. So I need to, as a teacher, we have to develop certain skills of report writing also. You can develop the rubric for that also. You can enhance, because ultimately when they go to the world of work, when they are working, they have to present themselves, the task, themselves and the task also to their superiors. Okay, so employer survey, they will just tell you, you can prepare the Google form, and then survey can be done. Alumni survey, your own alumni will give you the right feedback. Okay, the peer survey, definitely really indirect assessment rubric also can be prepared. I think I have already discussed about all this thing. Spontaneous survey, when you have a spontaneous survey observation, that is there. It's a very important tool. That's why teachers need to be there always during performance or by the students. Okay, planned observation, checklist, rating scale, and rubric. I'm just giving you one sample format for the checklist. This is the format for the checklist. It means criteria of performance or assessment. I have written both the things. Okay, it's not only assessment, it is the performance also, and this performance would match with the outcomes. Okay, it should map with the outcome. You can add one more column whether it is mapping, because we are assuming that you are doing the valid assessment. That's why every time we need you to write whether it is mapping or not. It is assumed that it should map. Your POs, your SO should map with the COs, your CO should map with the POs. Okay. Now it is in the question form, whether the student has performed that task, whether please tick appropriately. So yes or no. Okay. So this is the checklist. At least you will able to get whether he has done it or not. Okay. That is the thing. Okay. Then coming to the checklist with the rating scale, as I said, this is the second stage. You as a teacher can start identifying the criteria for different experiments. I have taken the example of the experiment. I don't say only for experiment. For anything, for any activity which you feel important in your institution, you can prepare the checklist. Okay. Then coming to the checklist with rating scale, then slowly and slowly, because we have to, you can put a rating scale on each criteria. Okay, so that students feel that yes, I am excellent on this, but here the description are not written. Okay, it is simple. You have to just tick it here, excellent in this criteria. I have put tick, and I have put tick on this criteria here on good, and in the third criteria I have put the fair. Okay. Then coming to the rubric, I'm not telling you. Okay. First I will tell you the example. Okay. 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 Here, rubric, if I say the criteria for performance, then here you are writing the description. So it is a descriptive rating scale. Okay. So this is the rubric. Even you can assign marks also, percentage weightage. You can put one more column here and you can assign the percentage weightage marks also. And then you can write on criteria number 1, I have assigned 20 marks. On criteria number 2, 10 marks. Criteria number 3, 4 marks. So identifying criteria is the most important thing. Okay. So, okay. So rubric, again, it is of two types, analytical and holistic rubric. Mostly I would prefer there should be analytical rubric if you are giving the objective assessment, and we are talking about all these things, validity, reliability, and assessment. Otherwise, holistic rubric means it is very generalistic kind of rubric. Okay, what I am discussing only the analytical rubric. Holistic rubric is really very broad, where you just write like this. Okay, just you write that you don't need to write the descriptors to a very large scale and then very specifically. Okay, but it is really, then again the reliability of assessment would not be there in the this holistic rubric. Okay. So I think a rubric it's a very good self-assessment tool by students for identification of strength and weakness for improvement. Fair uniformity of instruction, I think I have already told you. So identifying the criteria for indicators, and then it also improves the quality of learning and teaching, and it is a very good tool for portfolio assessment or portfolio, again the showcase, and you get the feedback for improvement. It can be mostly when we are using the analytical rubric, it is used for I would say formative assessment, and when we are talking about the holistic rubric, it is used for the summative assessment. So this is all I really wanted to talk about assessment, tools of assessment in a very short time. I'm sorry, I have to go hurriedly for showing something. So this is all from my side. If you have any questions, you can raise hand and you can ask. I will be posting one quiz. Okay, maybe after some time, maybe after 1 hour. Because I have a meeting at 2 o'clock, maybe a little late, I will be posting, but I will be posting one quiz on this session, so you can do it later on. Okay, so thank you so much. Maybe I will give the link to the Dr. Bedi and Dr. Khare, so they will be posting in your chat box. Okay, so you can do it later on. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much for patient listening. So thanks everyone. Thanks Dr. Khare, Dr. Bedi sir, and all the esteemed faculty for listening very patiently, because I could not interact too much, but definitely I tried my best in a limited time. I had to interact. Otherwise I could have skipped many points. So that was there. Okay, thank you so much. Thanks everyone. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Dear participants, thank you for your kind attention. There is break of 1 hour. Feedback form is shared in chat box. Submit it positively. Professor M. Ranga sir will take the next session. We will start our next session at 2:30 p.m. Thank you. Thank you for your cooperation.